In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Azzaro Forever Wanted Absolu. So I actually ordered this one from Dillard's a good couple of weeks ago, and it just came in yesterday. So I had kind of anticipated on getting some coverage out there on this one a bit sooner. They said it was shipped, and then it just kind of sat there and didn't move, and then finally now it showed up. So it is what it is, but we have it now. Obviously still sealed. I figured I'd go ahead and do a first impressions for this one. And so we're gonna dive in. You're gonna see my reaction firsthand. And I'm excited because just looking at the note breakdown, this looks like it's going to be very promising. So we're gonna have to see. We're gonna see how it compares to Forever Wanted Elixir and all of the others for that matter. So here is the bottle. Really nice looking. Now I'm gonna grab the other one, Absolu, and show you really quick. You're gonna see some similarities, mainly the top half. So the top half is exactly the same, that nice, really nice bright gold color, okay? But then down below you see a difference in the color of the glass, whereas this one kind of continues that gold look to it. This one has like a deep amber look. So really cool looking presentation here. I like it. And so let's go ahead and get this one on and we'll see what this smells like. So right away, I'm not really getting much of a wanted smell in terms of wanted by night, wanted parfum, that sort of thing. I'm not really picking up on any similarities to that just initially. And to be honest, I'm not really picking up on much of a similarity to Forever Wanted Absolu either. You know, this doesn't have that raspberry leather kind of bright fruity sweetness that, you know, the Absolu has. Instead, this has more of a dark, premium, woody, sweet, kind of slightly resinous, you know, smoky oleibana smell to it, like a rich ambery darkness behind this one that you know, the original Absolu did not have, and that really none of the others have. You know, this line has always been kind of pandering towards the younger end of things in terms of smelling modern and new and trendy, but kind of for the younger crowd. I think we could pretty much all come to an agreement on the fact that these Azzaro Wanted fragrances are marketed for the younger guys. Now, of course, if you like how it smells, you can wear it no matter how old you are, but you can just kind of see the writing on the wall with these. This is one where I think for the first time, we're seeing a little bit of a shift here with that. Yes, you know, something like, you know, Most Wanted Parfum maybe just takes it a bit away from, you know, that youthful smell a little, but it still very much is. This one here is taking a big step away from that overwhelming kind of young and playful smell, and it's giving us something that's much more rich, much more full-bodied and more complex, at least comparatively speaking. So let's go ahead and take a look at the full note breakdown here. Now, just looking at Fragrantica, they don't have anything listed off in terms of like top, mid, and base. I'm just gonna read you the notes. We have whiskey, vanilla, incense, woody notes, and amber. Now, it's pretty easy to kind of decipher what's gonna fall where. Like, I would be wagering that the whiskey's gonna be a top note here in this case because you're hit with something like that. Nice, bright, kind of boozy whiskey pretty much off the opening. Probably got some vanilla that's going to be coming through in the mid, and then like the incense, woods, and amber going to be your base notes, most likely somewhere around there. It doesn't really matter a ton, but you do pick up on those notes that they list off. So I would say that that's a pretty accurate note breakdown. Off the top, you do get kind of this boozy kick a little bit. Not like, you know, a rum type of booziness, but like a whiskey. You know, it's kind of a brighter, more of a boozy pop off the opening. Definitely getting some vanilla, a little bit of a smokiness out of this one as well right now. Again, this is still very early stages here, so, you know, it's going to change quite a bit more, I'm sure, as it dries down more, but so far I am picking up on those notes. Amber, definitely kind of, you know, a pretty clear one, and for sure woody notes. Like I said, for me though, a strong ambery accord. Also, just looking at the bottom of the bottle here, when you look at that gradient, this immediately makes me think of an amber note, just a rich, deep color like that, almost like a syrupy color. I just think amber, you know, and you're getting a lot of that in here. You're also getting this kind of resinous smell, at least to me, just a little bit resinous, maybe just a little bit of like an olibanum type of smell too, but nothing too crazy. So far, we're off to a really good start, I have to say. I'm enjoying this one a lot, and I kind of figured that I would, just given the track record of all of the other Wanteds, which for the most part I've enjoyed, aside from maybe Tonic and the original, I suppose. But all of their flankers, besides those, have been really, really solid, and I think they've all kind of, you know, found a place in somebody's collection at some point in time. And I think that for the most part, they've done a good job at keeping these somewhat separate, where you can own all of the fragrances in the line and not have too much overlap. And that is definitely the case with this one. This is not going to be competing against Forever Wanted Elixir or Wanted by Night or the Most Wanted Parfum or the Most Wanted or anything, because this is very different. This is a parfum concentration as well. So, you know, that is good news. I would wager to bet that this is going to be a fantastic performer, just like essentially all of the other ones that I just listed off, but we'll see. I'm putting my money on it, though, that we're not going to have any issues with performance here. Okay, now let's get into the elephant in the room. We're going to go dive into the Fragrantica what this smells like section. And this one, this surprises me. So when we look at it here, the first one is Bentley for Men Intense, okay? And this is voted 6 yes and 4 no. You know, I gotta be honest, I am not getting any Bentley for Men Intense. I really am not, okay? Now, again, when you look at the note breakdown, you see whiskey and you see woods, okay? And amber. So I guess when you compare it to Bentley for Men Intense, that also has whiskey, it also has woods, so that must mean they smell similar. It's not that simple. Bentley for Men Intense, oh, and incense, I should mention that too. The incense in this is nowhere near as strong and not the same type as the incense in the Bentley. The woody presence in the Azzaro is nowhere near as strong either. The Bentley is very smoky, very extreme, very boozy. Instead of a whiskey, it's more of a rum. It's just a much heavier scent all the way through, and just has more of a mature smell to it, even more so. And, you know, people say it smells like an old man. People say it kind of smells like a church. Yes, it does kind of go in that direction. Whereas this Azzaro, it does not at all, really. They're completely different scents, at least as far as I'm concerned, as this one's sitting on my skin right now. Yeah, it's a little bit smoky, yeah, it's a little bit woody, but it just doesn't really do the same thing for me. The next one is the Most Wanted Parfum. I also find this interesting because I don't think that this smells really anything like the Most Wanted Parfum either. The Most Wanted Parfum has a nice bright, almost kind of fizzy opening, and then it gets into a sweeter, kind of tonka bean based mid and dry down. It's a little bit more gourmand, it's a little bit more sweet in the modern sense, whereas this one, yeah, it's still sweet, and yes, it is something that kind of is a modern smelling release, right? But it's not quite to that level that a lot of the other Azzaro fragrances are. It kind of takes, not necessarily a step back, but it just doesn't go too far in that overly sweet, playful trend. Again, this is kind of more so somewhat attempting to get back to the roots of a more masculine planted, you know, winter scent for men. So no, I don't think it smells like that. Tobacco Oud by Tom Ford. Yet again, I am seeing zero resemblance, especially this one. This one's kind of out there. Tobacco Oud, strong tobacco, strong whiskey accord, so there's a correlation there. But we're talking completely different scents. Tobacco Oud is very challenging, I would say, and much more, you know, much harder to pull off overall, way less versatile. It's way sweeter, way richer. It has that relatively strong oud in there, whereas this does not. So no comparison to that either. And then we have Initio Side Effect. Side Effect is a great fragrance, and honestly, out of all of the ones that they've mentioned so far, I can maybe see a slight comparison, although still not a lot. This is not a Side Effect clone. And then we have Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé by Givenchy. Now, if I'm being honest, when I saw the note breakdown of this, the first fragrance that I thought of was Reserve Privé. Now, there are some things missing. This has no chestnut, no iris, and, you know, things like that. And no, this doesn't smell like Reserve Privé either. So yet another strike out here, but it is interesting that that's on there because I also thought of that fragrance when I viewed the note breakdown. Then we have Eros Najim, not getting that comparison. And then at the end, we have Boss Bottled Absolu. It doesn't really smell like that either. So I would say that this one does a pretty decent job of kind of staying in its own lane and doing something maybe a little bit different. Now, is this something that you've never smelled before in general, in the broad scope? No. If you've smelled other winter-based fragrances before, this is going to be something that, you know, might feel a little bit familiar to you. But just because it feels familiar doesn't mean that it's a clone of this, that, or the other, okay? It's not always that simple. This is just kind of in a category that has been done quite a bit. And that's where this one falls. It's as simple as that. It's not a clone of really any of those that I mentioned. And from what I'm smelling right now, and from what I'm racking my head on, trying to think of what this smells like, I'm not really getting too many things to where it's like an exact match. But I do really enjoy this one. I think it's fantastic for winter. We've got probably another month or so to wear this one here where I'm at before it starts getting into spring. And as soon as we have signs of spring, I'm switching over. I'm jumping ship to my spring and summer scents. I love winter fragrances, but I love spring and summer as a season more. And so whenever it starts to warm up, I'm always happy to switch over to something different and to get into that warm weather mood. So I'll be able to wear this one for a little bit longer here, and then we'll be switching over. So, you know, not horribly timing release here for what it's worth in the US, but you know, we've definitely seen worse. Really solid new fragrance. It was, I think, 155 bucks or something on retail. I can't remember exact. So, you know, it's up there a little bit. This one will hit discounters at some point, and then I'll let you guys know all about that if you want to pick one up. But I do really like it. I think it's going to be a good performer. It smells great. Not quite as, you know, juvenile as a lot of the others in the line. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.